Hello, everyone. I am Mickey. I'm not your mama's minister, and today I figured we would talk a little bit about tarot readings in the fact that there is no tried and true hard rule. So, I've recently run into a situation where a fellow reader felt that she was, how can I put this? She was bound by the traditional meanings of the cards. And so her readings were not coming out as accurate as she would have liked. And so she was really feeling despondent over this. She was feeling like she didn't want to do it anymore. And so we kind of, chit chatted back and forth. And I figured out that she was specifically having a problem with the traditional meanings behind the cards. And so I let her know, have you ever known me to go by the traditional meanings? I will say, oh, traditionally it means this, but in this reading, this is what I'm seeing. Because if I'm not seeing that in the reading, so if I'm looking at the card and I know what the traditional meaning is for that card, and yet in the reading that doesn't make sense. What makes sense is what I'm seeing. And so remember that these are just cards. Somebody else set down their interpretation of what that card meant. Somebody else laid it down for you. And so that it has continued and continued and continued. Remember, tarot has been around for ages and traveled around the world, been taken around the world and gone from a gambling game to a form of divination. The most, probably one of the most known forms of divination outside of palmistry, I'm betting. But anyway, so this is certainly not something that you have to be bound by what that traditional meaning is. And so, what you absolutely need to remember is that readings, divination, so getting information or messages from the divine. So, I kind of spread that out, and it also is coming from the divine world, the spirit world, the guides, everything that's out there. That's what it's coming from. Sometimes it's fucking coming from my client, and the client is just putting out so much energy that I'm like blown away, and you know who you are. So, so when you are sitting down and you are doing a reading, whether it's for yourself, which let me just tell you, I will completely honest. I don't read for myself unless I'm using a book. And so I think I've said that before in a post here or there, but I just wanted to reiterate that I do use a book when I'm reading for myself. If I don't go to a reader that I trust, that's how I read myself. And so it may be difficult to read for yourself. And the reason may be the same reason that it's difficult for many of us, and that is separating Mickey from the reader. So it's separating you and your hopes and your desires and everything that you want, especially if your client is someone that you care about or someone that you know. It's difficult to take that um, emotional connection, that what you have invested in this person, and to sit there and say, okay, this is what the guides are saying, this is what the cards are saying. So if you need a little help with the books, if you need a little help with the traditional meanings, that's absolutely wonderful. And I'm not judging those of you who absolutely go with 100%, this is the meaning behind the card and that's that. Because that may work for you. And I'm sure many of you, it does work for you. And so, yay, because that's all this is. Divination is messages. Well, if you, and we know this from shows like Little House on the Prairie and other older shows where somebody could cut in on the line while you were on a private call. And so that's the same thing as setting down rules for someone else's connection to the divine and spirit worlds. Does that make sense? I think so. And so when you are sitting down and doing those tarot readings, whether it's for somebody else or for yourself, make sure that you're paying attention to what you're seeing. It isn't just, oh, I remember I read that the star means this. So make sure that you're opening yourself up so that your connection to the divine and the spirit worlds, your connection to your own guides, your connection to your ancestors, to your fucking dog, so your connection to everything that is no longer in this world is stronger the more you trust in yourself. Now, it is very difficult to do that, especially when you're doing spiritual work, because you sit there and you say, I have no way to prove this. The only thing that I can do is wait and see what happens. But many of us have been doing this for many, many, many years and very much been reassured that we're going down the right paths. And so, but if you have any questions about how you can get started doing tarot readings, or which direction you could go, if there's specific books or if there's specific decks, each person has their superstition or their beliefs about tarot, about the tarot decks. Some of them wrap them in white silk. Some of them don't let anybody else touch them but themselves. And I personally just see them as cards. I've torn them before, I've glued them into journals before. So they're just cards. Just like a telephone is just a telephone. And then you replace that telephone, the same person is still there on the other end and you can still reach them. So, if you have any questions, like I was saying, go ahead and drop me a line. And please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment. And much love, many blessings, and that'll be it.